Alright, good afternoon, gentlemen. Hopefully everyone's having a decent day. It's episode number 26 of the Minecraft Survival Series, and we're back. We're probably going to be working on the village that we started in the previous episode, getting some more progress done on that, getting some more houses up, and maybe we'll do like the town hall itself today. I'm not exactly sure. And then we're also probably going to work in the end a bit, get some more progress done on Asgard, but that's basically what we're going to be doing in today's episode, so let's just get into it. Alright, so here we are in the village area. I don't really have a name or anything specific for this area, but for right now we're just going to call it the new village, and I haven't done any work off camera. Everything's exactly the same as it was in the previous episode, but today I want to expand on that, so we're probably going to be referencing some other builds on Pinterest today, not exactly designing all of my own buildings, but I'll design some. We have to build a corner building right here, and then some other buildings. I want to get buildings wrapped around this entire square, and then we can build some kind of town hall over in this area. For the square itself, I want to add some fountains and tables and chairs, but we'll see how far we get in today's episode. So yeah, I don't want to copy anyone's builds exactly, but I am going to draw a little bit more reference from some other builders just because I want to get comfortable in this build style. So let's see what we can do for this corner building right here. Alright, so getting right into the action, a bit of a quick progress update. You can see that we've finished this corner building and it looks amazing. I'm gonna just fully outright say that. I really like the way that this corner building looks. It's some kind of a shop, but again, I drew a lot of inspiration for this build, and it kind of saddens me to say that because I don't like doing that. I feel like I'm stealing other people's content, so we're probably gonna hold off on doing that. We'll probably do it a few more times just because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to this style of builds. I feel like if I take inspiration, I guess heavy inspiration from other people's builds, then it just ends up looking a little bit better. But I guess I do build some kind of confidence by kind of changing their builds. So I am going to link all the inspirators, or you know what I mean. I'm going to link the people that built this building down below. All of the buildings that I kind of copy or draw a lot of inspiration from, I'm going to link down below just because they do deserve the credit. This building looks amazing. I only changed some very minor things, but I do think it looks great. I think it fits. We're probably going to extend the stone brick path here by a few blocks just to close this off because it is supposed to be some kind of like a market stall. So I feel like if we have grass, it'll be kind of weird. You won't really be able to walk up and see what's in the shops. And we will be adding things into the shops in the future. Right now, I just want to focus on getting the bulk of the buildings up, but we will come back and add different things in the glass. I guess maybe we can put some armor stands as if it's some kind of a clothing store. You know, I actually thought maybe right here we can just add some grass, then I can add a little bit of vegetation just to break away from all of that stone. But like I said, I am going to be crediting all of the people that do deserve the credit that built these buildings. I only changed them very slightly. We're going to be mixing in some of my own designs with some other people's designs just so I could build up my confidence and kind of find myself in this style of build. And then one day, probably in the next episode, I'll mainly just do my own style of builds. But for now, hopefully you guys don't hate me for kind of copying and pasting other people's builds with only slight modifications. Alright, so we finished the one blue building on the right, which is a corner building. Now we have to continue this corner building right here, and I figure we have this circular area here, and then it leads off into like a flat section, so why not continue that circular bend off and then complete it with another flat section so it kind of mirrors itself on both sides, and then we can build another building to the left of it, but I think that's the best solution for right now. It fits, it works. I'm just going to finish this building off right here, see how far we can take it out, and then I'll be back with you guys. Okay, but yeah, that's basically it. I just wrapped the design all the way around. I think it looks good enough. I'm not exactly a huge fan of this specific build, but it is kind of growing on me. I think with some finishing touches, like adding some leaves over here and, you know, maybe adding some more variety in the diorite strips, maybe getting some more polished diorite in there just to change things up a little bit, make it look a little bit more messy, I guess, give it some more detail. But basically, we're finished with this building, and now I can move on to this next building, which is going to be right up against this wall here, and maybe it'll be some kind of pub or something like that. I have some pretty cool designs that I've found online for a pub, so maybe we'll go with that. Alright, so this build kind of looks a little bit odd, and that's probably due to the fact that it doesn't have a first floor. Now, that's due to the fact that I don't have any more of this warped wood or any deep slate, so I need to go collect both of those things. But I do really love the way that the second and third floors are looking. Just that brick and sandstone interlocking looks phenomenal. I guess it's like the texture pack or Optifine or whatever it is. It looks so good. It adds so much kind of minute detail that Minecraft doesn't really have unless you build on a huge scale. So I'm absolutely loving this. I'm going to go get those two different blocks or resources, and we're going to finish this building off. All right, and here we are a little bit later. You can see that it really has that distinct pub design. The first floor kind of screams that, in my opinion. It looks like something out of How I Met Your Mother, if you've seen that, like the main pub. Kind of gives me those vibes. I really do like the roof. I like the main section, the brick. I like this doorway, which is kind of different, and I didn't put any blocks back here. We can't exactly add a door because the way that the Minecraft walls are set up, I don't want anything linking, so we're just going to leave it open like that, and I feel like I can live with that. But we need to still get some glass in here. I'm not exactly sure what color of glass I'm going to be using, and this building in general is a little bit heavily borrowed from a design that I will obviously credit in the comment section down below, or sorry, the description down below. But I am just loving this building. It's one of my favorites so far, especially that first floor and then that brick and sandstone interlocking. But moving on to the next building. All right, so instead of working on the building next to the pub, we kind of turned around and started work on this building. Unfortunately, I ran out of quartz, so I need to go gather a bit of that. And I also have to mention that I put in the glass over here. We kind of used some different glasses just to give it that textured look, which I'm a really big fan of. But yeah, I need to go gather up a bunch of quartz. We're going to do that, maybe go into the Nether, mine some and trade some, and then we'll be back to work on this building. All right, so here we are with the completion of this next building. This one's more of an apartment building. It has like 3 or 4 floors here, and it is again heavily inspired by a build that I found on Pinterest or Google or whatever, so I will credit it again. But I am really in love with this building. I think it looks really great. It's very different from anything else we have in this village. It is kind of more of a high rise. There are more floors. Other ones kind of have taller roofs, but I am a fan of it. I'm a really big fan of the kind of sandstone bricks that break away from all of the smooth sandstone. I love the balconies. I love the quartz bottom. I don't really like that gap in between those two buildings, but this is what it's looking like so far. We're building up the city more and more. It's looking more like a real city. I love how every single one of these apartments and storefronts are so distinct and different, and they all just look very unique, and it adds a lot of kind of flavor and color to the entire village. Nothing's bland or boring, but here I go just texturing this building because why not? I feel like it adds a little bit more variety, which I was talking about, variety and all these different details, and everything just looks very different and unique, and I'm just loving this village. So we're going to continue on cranking out houses. Here we go. All right, so for the next apartment, I basically want to do the exact same thing that we did with the quartz and sandstone building, just change up the blocks. And for the blocks that we're going to be using, I want to use red nether brick or nether wart brick, whatever it's called. I'm absolutely in love with this block. I've been kind of playing around with it in a creative test world, and it's unfortunate because I don't have any of this. I have like 26 nether wart in total, so I have to farm up a bunch of nether wart. We have to go smelt down a bunch of netherrack, and then we could build out of these beautiful red nether brick blocks, which I've never used in my world, and I'm really excited to. I'm gonna have to set up some kind of nether wart farm because this probably won't be enough. Now, it'll be enough for this particular design because it does use a lot, but it's just one building, so we'll do this for now. We'll set up these little farms here and continue to reharvest all of this nether wart, but for the future, I want to build some kind of nether wart farm. Now, if I do remember correctly, I'm in the nether because nether wart grows quicker in the nether, but I'm not exactly sure if that's one of those old Minecraft myths like sugarcane grows quicker on sand, which is not true. So maybe it is, maybe it doesn't grow quicker. My grammar was a little bit off there, but anyways, we're going to continue to grow up all of this nether wart, and then I'll be back once we have enough to build maybe half, or I guess just the front of the building. Alright, so here we are in the overworld. I have a few stacks of nether wart. I don't know if this is going to be enough, but we also smelted down some netherrack, so we're going to see the crafting recipe right here. So it's about 2 and 2, pretty even, and then you get a stack of blocks. So yeah, that's a pretty expensive block. Probably going to need more than 3 stacks and 6 blocks, so probably going to have to continue harvesting nether wart, which isn't exactly fun, but what are you going to do? Alright, and here we are. As you can see, the building is extremely similar to the sandstone and quartz version with some slight variations. We have a different kind of header or roof thing, banner, I don't know exactly what to call that. And then instead of using the sandstone brick in the middle or some variant of that, we have fences going, and then the balconies are a little bit different. Or sorry, I said fences, the nether brick walls, which look really phenomenal. They add a little bit of detail right there in the middle, kind of like this slit going upwards, which is not exactly the same level as the regular regular blocks, which gives it just the slightest bit of detail, but I like it. I really do love the contrast with the quartz and then the red nether brick. I think that looks phenomenal. They're basically the exact same building, as you can see, but they have some slight variations. And then we also built this building over here, which I'm not too sure why I don't like it. I think it's because of the birch, but I really do like this detail that I added here with some of the window cells being, or sorry, what are these called again? I keep forgetting the name of them. Window something. Window, I'm not sure, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about with the trapdoors. Some of them are open, some of them are closed, some of them are kind of all the way back, the window flaps. I'm just blanking on the name, but yeah, I do like these two new buildings. The one with the brick and the birch isn't my favorite, like I said, but maybe we'll make some adjustments. Maybe we'll change out the birch for sandstone. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm feeling about it, but I do like the fact that the village is kind of closing in on us, and this entire open area is going to be encased by these kind of bigger buildings than usual. So we're going to build two more, and then I guess we'll get to work on the main town hall. Alright, so as you can see on the right of you, another building went up. I finished the last two buildings, but right now I'm just clearing some space for the town hall itself, just so we can step back a few blocks and build the face of it. And I also need some stone, so what a perfect area to collect some stone, because we're going to have to get rid of a bit of this mountain anyway. So I'm just going to continue to get rid of this little chunk here, and then we'll get to work on the town hall. Maybe before we get to work on the town hall, I'll show you guys the houses. Maybe we'll finish the town hall face, and then I'll show you the houses. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to continue on mining here. Alright, so I've begun to work, or I guess kind of gave myself a template for the town hall. As you can see, it's going to be pretty huge. I'm not really going to show you guys the two houses because they're nothing special. One's made out of brick. There it is. There's some weird things going on up there with the roof. Maybe we'll change that. I'm not exactly a huge fan of that house. You see what I mean? When I build the houses myself, they're not exactly up to par with the ones that I find online, but they're okay. They're good enough. The one on the left is a little bit nicer. I do like that one a bit more, but this is the general base, or I guess the platform that we're going to be building the town hall up. It has these two grand staircases that bring you up. You can see all of those kind of like 3x3 stone things or stone brick things. These are going to be pillars that go up into the sky. This building is going to be pretty tall, I guess a considerable amount taller than any of the other buildings in this area, just because I want it to be this grand town hall that the rest of the city, because this isn't going to be just one strip, right? There's going to be houses all the way around this town hall, around the mountain. It's going to be a pretty huge village, so I want this ginormous town hall building that's kind of very, I don't even know how to describe it, very prestigious and royal. Everyone comes here. It's the town hall. It's the government, right? They have money. They can build something pretty huge. Not that I'm implementing any kind of lore or anything like that. Just this is how my mind works. You know, I want it to kind of make sense. So we're going to get some more work done on this thing, and then I'll be back to show you guys. Alright, so here's another progress update. You can see kind of like the first stage of it. It has these really nice pillars that are holding up this huge beam that supports the roof, which is kind of like this very slowly sloped 3 and then 3 and then 3 roof, which looks pretty grand in my opinion. There is going to be another roof just like this, kind of the same exact height, just right above it. You'll see what I mean if you don't exactly get it, but I'm a pretty big fan of how these pillars turned out. I like the arches that I put in between them. I think they look pretty good. I like these acacia beams. I think they fit, and that pop of orange gives it a little bit of texture. The roof, I'm not exactly sure if I'm in love with it, especially that kind of how I filled in the roof with all of those stone slabs. Maybe we'll change that out for something else, maybe a brick or something like that. That'll give it a bit more of a pop. But I'm going to continue working on it. I'm going to get this back wall up. We need to kind of extend the beams all the way up, and then I'll be back to show you the progress. Alright, so I kind of got a bit ahead of myself and finished the entirety of the face of this building. I kind of just put a movie on, and throughout the entirety of the movie, it was like 2 hours and a half. I basically completed this. It took me a little bit less than that, but yeah, I'm really liking the way that this is turning out. I'm really liking all of the brick that I added. It gives it this like bright red pop, and like I said, I want this to be huge. It is very grand because there's going to be buildings all the way around this city, this strip right here. I want buildings everywhere, so I wanted this one main building to kind of stick out and to just be different from all of the other houses that are going to be all over here. I want you to know exactly what it is. It's not just another house. It's this grand building. It's like, what is that? That is the town hall. That's kind of like the main building, like the main strip leads to that building. And I'm really a fan of it. I kind of drew inspiration from Red Dead Redemption. Now, there's not exactly a building in Red Dead Redemption that looks particularly like this one, but the aspects of it, kind of having these big pillars and then this balcony and multiple roofs, and it kind of looks like this old American bank or something like that, or I guess a town hall. But I am really a big fan of it. I do like the way that this entire area kind of closes off and leads up to this one main building. We have these kind of grand big doors. Obviously in Minecraft we can only have these regular doors, but they kind of give off this perception that that entire kind of wooden trapdoor structure thing is a big door, and I really do like that. I feel like when we add a fountain here and a bunch of details, this entire area is just gonna be sprawling and beautiful and detailed, and I'm just really a big fan of everything here, especially this grand ginormous royal town hall building. So moving on. Alright, but before we kind of jump into anything else, I just want to make some minor adjustments. I think I'm going to switch out the brick kind of roof thing with maybe some sandstone just to see how that looks. I think that'll maybe improve the looks of it. I added some glass here. We did that textured glass effect again. And then for this building, I am going to swap out all of this birch here with sandstone. I know it is going to be very similar to this building next to it, but I think it'll make it look a little bit better. So I'm going to make those quick adjustments and then we'll see what they look like. Alright, so I'm not exactly 100% sure if I like this more. There's just something a little off with this building. I think the sandstone just looks a little bit weird, so maybe we'll come back to this in the future. I'm not 100% sure that I hate it. I'm not 100% sure that I like it. It's just somewhere in the middle. It's okay. I think maybe it does look a little bit better with that sandstone roof, but again, I'm not exactly sold on it. The building in general is just fine. And then on the other side here, we switched out all of the birch for sandstone, and I 100% think that it looks better. It has that interlocking again, which gives it a little bit more detail, and everything just looks a little bit more fancy and royal. We kept the birch trapdoors and doors because that fits with the sandstone vibe, but overall I think those two adjustments are for the most part better, and definitely with the brick and sandstone building on the other side of us. So yeah, I'm gonna keep those changes for now. Maybe we'll change them, but yeah, I think they look pretty good. All right, but now moving on away from the village, I feel like we've done a good amount of progress on the village in general. We built a bunch of houses. It was all pretty quick, just progress updates here. I built another house here, I built another house. So right now what I want to do is go work on the end dimension a little bit, get some work done on Asgard, and to do that I'm gonna need a ton of stone. I don't really have much stone just laying around, so I'm gonna get some torches. I'm gonna do a bit of strip mining. We're going to see how much stone we can collect. Maybe I'll do a bit of strip mining here, and then maybe I'll go hollow out an area of the base or something like that. So we're just going to collect up as much stone as we can and then start to terraform a little bit more in Asgard in the end. Alright, so I'm kind of done with strip mining. I don't really like doing it. All of the lava gets in the way, and we're pretty good on diamonds for right now. So like I said, we're just going to go hollow out an area of the end. I didn't really do much strip mining at all, or I guess what is that called? Speed mining, where you have the beacon and you just continue going. Yeah, it's definitely not strip mining. So we're going to find an area of the base to hollow out, you know, just expand the base if we ever need to build any new farms or anything like that. We have these big caverns open like this where I just went ahead and collected a bunch of stone. So probably going to leave this area right here because I feel like it's big enough, and if we need to expand that in the future we can. We're probably going to go over here to the right where we have our villagers set up. Not exactly this room to the left, but this chunk of stone right here, I feel like we can get rid of all of this and kind of expand even further into the right. So I'm going to get to mining. We're going to set up a beacon, and then we can go ahead and collect all of this stone. Alright, so here we are. As you can see, we've cleared out all of the stone, collected a good amount. We have about 5 or 6 shulker boxes here of stone that are filled up. Not exactly all of them are full. We got some of our tools here. I recently went and repaired all of them. I thought that was a creeper. That's why I kind of got scared there. But we got some resources here. Not exactly anything special, but we got some coal, some iron, some lapis, which is always useful. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the end now, and we can begin terraforming. I'm not exactly sure how much terraforming we're going to be doing in this video, but we'll see. Alright, so here we are in the end looking at Asgard, and every time I stand up here and look into the vastness of this big island that I've built, I always think about how cool it looks and how many blocks I've placed, but how many more blocks I have to place, and that's why it's kind of a dreaded project right now, because there's so much work to do, and it's all in the void, placing blocks over the void, holding shift. It's just extremely tedious, and Honestly, I don't like doing it, but I like the way it looks so much that I want to continue working on it and get it done eventually. So we're going to move on over here to the left side. I have a bunch of dirt to place, and then we're going to start building up the second island mass. We're not even close to completing this other right side, but I want to get some work done on the left side just so we can compare and see how it's going to look in the end, and kind of just work on the other side just for some variety, I guess, because I don't want to continue working on this right side and completely finish it and then have to go start the left side. So we're going to kind of chip away at both sides at the same time. Alright, so I came into the end with a bunch of stone thinking that we're going to get right into the mountains, but what I want to do first is kind of lay some more grass and dirt down here just so we have something to stand on, kind of get some more infrastructure going, some layers, and we're going to need dirt anyways for the mountains themselves. So now I have to go back into the overworld and collect up a bunch of grass and dirt, and then we can come back and start working. Alright, so we just hollowed out this random under chunk of dirt, just a bunch of dirt and grass everywhere. It's such an annoying resource to dig up because I don't want to ruin my world, so I have to go under, and dirt's only a few blocks tall. It's like 3 or 4 blocks tall, and then you have to get in the way of all of this stone, which is always changing levels, so it's just a tedious block to mine if you want to continue to keep your world looking pretty good. But as you can see, we're just flying over here, all of the houses popping in distance, which look pretty phenomenal. But going back into the end, let's get some work done. Alright, so I'm just under here building some scaffolding out so we can finish the rest of this kind of wraparound loop that we've been doing that extends below the island, so it's not just this one thin layer of grass, but it actually has some weight to it. There's some stone, there's some grass layers, and it just looks a little bit heavier. It looks like it can support these gargantuan mountains and all these different houses that we're going to be building in the future. If it was just one layer of grass, I think that would look a little bit weird and silly, I guess, but we're going to continue on working on this. You've seen this before, so I'm not exactly going to show you any of it, but I'm going to continue getting it done because it needs to be finished, because it'll look weird if only one side is completed, obviously. So let me continue working on this and then I'll be back with you. Alright, but here we are. This is what it's looking like so far. You can see we finished that like under cliff side thing where we extend the island downwards and give it a bit more layers, which I was talking about in the previous clip. And then I started modeling and building up the left side's mountain. Now, we're going to do this side a little bit differently from the right side. It's going to have a bit of a different approach. I think it looks a little bit better just because I'm taking a different approach to it. I'm making it a kind of bit more gradual of an increase this time with this mountain. And we're going to have separate islands that are separate mountains that kind of connect to each other, unlike this right side where everything is just like one cluster, everything's connected to. So if you don't exactly know what I'm talking about, I'll show you in the next episodes, but this is what I got done for right now. It does take a lot of time, it is very tedious, and it's not exactly my priority. Like I said in the previous episode, we're just going to chip away at this project, and you can see I've laid down some infrastructure. This is going to be changing a lot, but this is kind of what I want to do, what I was talking about with those separate mountains being built up, and then we'll connect them in some areas, we won't connect them in others. I think that'll just give it a bit more of a realistic look because they're individual islands. But again, all of this is going to change a lot. We're going to build up these mountains to be incredibly high. Behind the main gold structure, they're probably going to go higher than the structure itself, so we'll see mountains right when we walk in. They'll be like peeking over the golden pyramid. But for this one right here, it's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be like a gradual increase, just like it is on this right side. So we'll see. This project is only going to progress further and further, but I think that's where we're going to leave it off for this episode. In the next episodes to come, I think I'm really going to, I guess, hunker down. I don't know, that's kind of a weird word, but I'm going to get to work on this island and kind of get a lot more progress done than in these past 2 episodes because I'm kind of getting into the flow of things, and that was a horrible ender pearl, but yeah. Alright, but I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I'm pretty happy with the amount of progress that we've got done. We didn't exactly work on the end island as much as I wanted to, but we've made a lot of progress in the village area, so we'll continue to work on that. We'll continue to work on the Asgard project. Maybe in the next episode we'll spice things up and we'll go work on the spruce forest a bit, maybe build some kind of a log cabin or something like that, but I'm not promising anything. You'll have to tune into next week's episode to find out what we do. I'm not even sure what we're going to do. I'm just kind of telling you that because I just wanted to throw some ideas out there. If you guys have any details that you wanted me to add to the village or anything that I should change up or any projects that you want me to work on, let me know down below in the comments. But that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a great day.